All right, let's dive into Demon Copperhead. You know that Barbara Kingsolver novel we were talking about?
Yeah, it's the one you wanted to unpack.
That's the one. Forget just like skimming the surface. We're going deep.
Going granular.
Yeah. And I think what makes this one so interesting is we're going to look at like the passages and details that make this book powerful. You know what I mean?
It's more than just plot, right? Like, we're thinking about
Yeah.
the layers of
Mhm.
social commentary that Kingsolver embeds into Damon's story, and how she uses his voice to kind of like shed light on poverty, addiction, foster care, and just life in Appalachia.
Yeah, and it starts right from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like that opening line where he's talking about his hauler being known for Copperhead.
Oh, yeah, that image.
And it's just like, boom, instant prejudice,
Yeah.
right? You're already judging him before you even know him.
Right? And she connects that snake
Yeah.
to all of these assumptions that people make about E-Man, people from his community.
Totally.
Dangerous, unpredictable, maybe even a bit poisonous. And you see how that plays out. Yeah.
In how others treat him.
Throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
But to understand that struggle, we need to like go back to his roots, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about his dad, Ghost Dad's.
Oh, Ghost Dad.
It's huge mystery looming over his life.
Yeah, it kind of shapes everything, right?
Yeah.
And his mom, struggling with addiction,
Right.
creates this really unstable environment for him. And then this longing to connect with his dad's family, especially his grandmother.
Right.
She's almost like a mythical figure in his mind.
That's a good point. And speaking of family, we got to talk about the Peggotts.
Yes.
Mrs. Peggott, or like Demon calls her Mama.
Mama.
She's a force, you know.
Absolutely.
She's tough but loving and becomes this anchor for him.
Yeah, she offers that stability, that sense of belonging.
For sure.
But even in that family unit, Kingsolver shows us that the cycle of violence and trauma
Right.
that really permeates Demon's world.
Yeah.
Remember that horrific scene with Mariah Peggott being abused by her husband, Romeo?
It's a tough one. It's so tough to read.
Oh, it is.
And it's like she's foreshadowing the dark reality that he's going to face.
Yeah.
His mother's death, the brutality of the foster care system.
Especially Creaky Farm.
Oh, Creaky Farm. The conditions are just appalling.
Yeah.
The exploitation, the neglect, it becomes this like microcosm of how the system just fails kids.
Absolutely.
And they're treated almost like commodities.
Yeah.
Like Tommy and Swap Out.
You're right, they are.
They become almost interchangeable.
Yeah. It's rough. But even in all this, Demon finds ways to cope, right?
He does.
Remember those superhero comics?
Yes.
Fast Man
Oh, Fast Man.
and Creek Evil.
Creek Evil.
I mean, he's using art as a way to process what he's going through.
What's so powerful about it is it's more than just escapism.
Yeah.
It's this way to transform trauma into something creative.
Like, totally.
And use those characters to explore
Well,
social commentary. Like Creek Evil could be seen as
yeah.
the forces preying on kids in the system.
And even Fast Man, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
this yearning for escape, for someone to just like swoop in and save the day.
Like that need for a hero.
Absolutely.
For protection from these harsh realities.
And sadly, it goes unmet.
It does for much of the book.
And then, of course, his mother's overdose.
That's a pivotal moment, isn't it?
It is.
Losing his primary caregiver just plunges him deeper into this system.
Yeah.
And it really sets the stage for even more hardship.
And then Stoner,
Mm.
the stepfather.
Oh, Stoner.
Abusive.
So controlling.
Talk about controlling. He's trapped.
Really reinforces that cyclical nature
Yeah.
of abuse and trauma. Even with the mom gone, the pattern just continues.
Doesn't it?
It does.
It's like the lasting impact is still there.
Yeah.
And even Miss Barks, the social worker,
Right.
who genuinely wants to help,
Wants to help.
she's limited by the system.
That's where Kingsolver's critique of social services
Oh, it's-
becomes really sharp.
Yeah.
It's less of a support network and more like a bureaucracy,
Right.
highlighting that gap
Yeah.
between the good intentions and the reality on the ground.
He ends up at Golly's Market,
Oh, golly's Mark.
just looking for some sense of belonging.
What a reality check.
Right into the deep end
Yeah.
of poverty and crime.
Oh.
Remember that Oxy Express scene?
Oh, yeah.
That's where Kingsolver really lays bare that link
Yeah.
between economic desperation
Yeah.
and the opioid crisis gripping Appalachia.
And Tommy Waddles, the other foster kid
From Creaky Farm?
from Creaky Farm, their lives keep intersecting.
They do.
Mm.
In these poignant ways.
Yeah, they do.
It's about that shared experience
Right,
of
sure.
trauma and how those bonds forged in adversity, how they just endure.
You're right.
They're both navigating this world
Yeah.
of limited opportunities,
Yeah.
trying to make sense of a world that seems stacked against them.
Totally. And then his search for family continues.
Right. He ends up reunited with his grandmother,
Miss Betsy.
Miss Betsy. It's complicated.
It's a lot more complicated than he imagined, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's fiercely independent.
Yeah.
Not exactly warm and fuzzy.
Not exactly, but...
But there are those glimpses
yeah, you're right.
of that connection that he's been craving.
You found a piece.
Yeah,
But it comes with challenges.
it does.
Blood ties don't guarantee those easy relationships.
Definitely not.
No.
Kingsolver shows how family can be a source of comfort and pain,
Yeah.
often at the same time.
So true. All right, let's fast forward a bit. High school. Lee High School.
Lehigh.
He forms that close friendship with Angus,
Yes.
who we later find out is transgender.
Important for his development.
Oh, super important.
Exposing him to a different perspective.
Yeah.
Challenging those narrow definitions
Absolutely.
of masculinity that have been imposed on him.
And then there's Mr. Armstrong's Backgrounds Project.
Oh, yeah. The Backgrounds Project.
They're uncovering the history of coal mining
Yeah.
and how it impacted the community. What a tool for social commentary.
Powerful. Connecting the past and the present.
Oh, for sure.
Showing how generations of exploitation shaped
Yeah.
the realities of poverty and addiction in Appalachia.
And he's trying to figure out who he is.
He is.
Dealing with the pressures of being a teenager.
Yeah.
These conflicting messages about masculinity.
And then you've got Coach Briggs.
Oh, yeah? Crooks Briggs?
The football coach
Yeah.
who pushes those ideals
Hey.
of toughness and winning.
Yeah.
But there's also this sense that they're limiting,
Right.
contributing to the cycle of violence that
You know.
Demon witnesses.
And amidst all of this, he falls in love with Dory.
Dory.
Their relationship,
So intense.
intense,
Mhm.
but also really affected
Affected by.
by the poverty and addiction.
Yeah, it's a love story.
It is.
But set against this backdrop
Oh, yeah.
of hardship.
It really is.
They're both looking for solace, right? For escape. But the reality of their circumstances
Yeah.
just makes it this constant uphill battle.
It does. You remember that scene where he takes her to Devil's Bathtub,
Devil's Bathtub, the place where his dad died.
where his dad died? It's haunting, almost like,
Foreshadowing.
yeah, foreshadowing.
Like he's drawn to this place that
Mhm.
represents loss
Yeah,
and connection to his past.
that's right.
Speaks to that cyclical nature of trauma.
Yeah.
The difficulty of breaking free from those patterns.
And then her addiction takes over.
It's a devastating loss
Oh, it is.
that underscores the destructive power of addiction.
It's not just personal.
No.
It's societal, too.
It's playing out on a personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's lost everyone.
But
But out of that darkness,
yes,
something unexpected emerges.
it does.
His artistic talent.
It becomes a force for
Yeah.
healing and redemption.
That's right.
It's the start of a new chapter, but so intertwined with his past.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting how that relationship with Dory
Dory, yeah.
kind of mirrors so many other dynamics in the book, you know, like the
Wow.
push and pull between love and dependence
Mm.
and how those lines get blurred when
Right.
addiction is involved.
Totally. And they're both looking for that solace, that escape.
They are.
But those realities, the poverty, lack of opportunity,
Yeah.
keep pulling them down.
It's heavy.
It is heavy.
And Kingsolver doesn't shy away from that.
Oh, no.
Like that scene
Right.
where Dory reveals
Oh,
the
yeah.
truth about the Oxy Express. It's like a
We're-
punch to the gut.
It is.
Any illusion of control they had is just shattered, you know?
It is.
And suddenly you see how deeply entrenched
Yeah,
this opioid crisis is
you do.
and how it preys on vulnerable people
Absolutely.
like Dory.
And it exposes the exploitation, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the manipulation.
The manipulation.
At the heart of it.
At the heart of...
Yeah, prescription drug abuse.
She
She's trapped, Dory is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her desperation is just
Oh,
used
Dory.
for profit.
How?
And Demon's complicit, too.
Oh, he is.
Even though he tries to justify it, he's addicted.
Right.
And that desperation just, twists morals.
It does. It twists everything.
It makes him do things he
Yeah.
wouldn't normally do.
And that's the awful dilemma
It
he's
is.
in, right?
Loving Dory.
But also being addicted himself.
And how it just warps judgment.
Oh, it does.
You prioritize the drug
Yeah.
above all else,
It becomes the most important thing.
and he's in survival mode. But
Yeah.
yeah, those choices have
Yeah.
consequences.
They do.
And, speaking of consequences,
Yeah.
that football injury
Oh, the injury.
is a turning point, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, yeah. Kingsolver uses that injury
He does.
so brilliantly.
It's not just physical.
No. It's like a metaphor for all those deeper wounds
Right.
that he carries.
Yeah.
The emotional, the psychological scars from his childhood.
And it creates this horrible cycle.
It does.
Right. The injury leads to painkillers, which fuel the addiction,
Yeah.
which leads to more pain.
And more desperation.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this stark reminder of how the overprescription of opioids has fueled this crisis. It's a societal problem.
Totally.
But the impact is so personal.
It's felt on such a personal level.
Yeah.
And it's not just Demon, though. You see it.
You see it everywhere.
Touch nearly every character.
Almost every character.
In some way or another.
It's like this dark undercurrent, you know, it's a force shaping the lives of everyone in that community. And it really shows the scale of this opioid epidemic, how deeply rooted it is.
And the system is failing them.
Oh, it is.
Right. There's not enough support.
Not enough resources.
Not enough resources. To help break free.
It's a sharp critique of the healthcare system.
It is.
Just the lack of accessible, affordable treatment options.
And there's such a stigma.
Oh, huge.
Surrounding addiction.
Yeah.
People are so quick to judge.
They are.
To label, to say they're weak.
Yeah.
Or morally flawed.
And that's so dehumanizing, right?
It is.
It prevents people from getting help.
Absolutely.
It feeds that cycle of shame and isolation.
Makes it even harder.
Much harder.
To break free.
Oh.
But, you know, let's maybe shift gears a little bit. You're talking about Demon's art. It's such a thread.
It is.
Throughout the whole book.
Woven throughout.
How do you see his art evolving alongside these experiences?
Well, it starts as a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah.
This way to escape.
Yeah.
But then it becomes this form of expression or way to understand his world and offer that social commentary. Remember those early comics?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
They're echoes of Rednecks in those.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
The themes of fighting injustice. Good versus evil.
It's all there from the beginning.
All there from the beginning.
Laying the foundation for his voice, for his desire to speak truth to power.
That scene with Fast Forward at Creaky Farm.
Oh, yeah.
When he shows those comics.
Yeah.
I mean, that validation is so crucial for him.
So crucial. Fast Forward recognizes his talent.
Yeah.
Encourages him to keep drawing.
Yeah.
And it just plants that seed that his voice matters.
It does.
That his art has value.
Absolutely. Even though there are times when he kind of abandons it.
He does.
He always seems to come back.
He does.
Doesn't he?
He does. It's essential.
It is.
Part of who he is.
Yeah.
A way to process, make sense of the chaos, and find a way to communicate his truth.
And then the collaboration with Tawny on Redneck. It's an unlikely partnership.
It is.
But it works so well. Why do you think that is?
Their shared experiences.
Yeah.
That understanding they have of their community's struggles.
Yeah.
It just gives the strip this raw authenticity.
It does.
That connects with people.
And they choose to be anonymous.
They do.
Like they want the focus to be on the stories.
On the story.
On the issues.
Yeah.
Not on them as individuals.
It gives them a certain freedom too, you know?
Yeah.
To critique power without fear.
Without fear of reprisal.
Yeah.
And the impact is huge.
It's huge.
It starts conversations.
Yeah.
Raises awareness about the crisis. Inspires acts of kindness and remembrance.
It becomes a rallying point.
It does.
For that community.
Yeah.
A way for them to connect and share their own stories.
But even as Redneck is blowing up, his life's falling apart.
It is.
His addiction is getting worse.
It is.
He's pushing away everyone.
He is. And it's heartbreaking to witness.
Oh, it is.
You just want to...
You want to reach in and help.
You want to reach in and shake him.
I know.
Help him see.
And then the reunion with Fast Forward.
Oh, Fast Forward.
So...
Complicated. So many unspoken emotions.
Unspoken emotions.
And it's a collision, isn't it?
It is, of past and present.
Yeah.
Fast Forward representing that ideal of escape and rebellion.
Yeah.
But the reality is much harsher.
Oh, it is.
And his death.
Oh, yeah.
Is a turning point.
It is.
A brutal wake-up call for Demon.
Yeah.
It forces him to confront his addiction.
And the damage.
Yeah.
That he's causing.
He sees himself reflected in the eyes of someone he idolized.
He did.
And it's terrifying.
It's a moment of reckoning.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
He needs to change.
It has to.
He decides to get help.
Yeah.
Rehab. And that decision says so much
It does.
about his strength.
About his strength, yeah.
Glimmer of hope
Yeah.
in all that darkness.
And it sets the stage for that final chapter.
Yeah. The journey back to his roots.
To Murder Valley.
Murder Valley.
Which is more than just a physical journey,
Oh,
right?
it is. Confronting his past,
Yeah.
his family legacy,
Yeah.
and finding that peace and understanding.
It's about reclaiming that narrative, right?
Yes.
Redefining what it means
Redefining.
to be a Copperhead.
To be a Copperhead.
And in that, discovering that true strength
Yeah.
lies not in denying the past,
No.
but in facing it
Facing it head on.
and choosing a different path.
Choosing a different path.
And it's not a straight line, is it?
It's not a straight line. It's messy.
Recovery.
Recovery is messy.
It's a journey.
An ongoing journey.
And she shows that. The challenges,
Yeah.
the setbacks,
The possibility of relapse.
a possibility of relapse.
Yeah.
She portrays it so well.
She does.
The reality of it,
It's complex.
all its complexity. It's
Yeah.
not a quick fix.
It's not.
No.
Yeah.
It's a long, arduous
Months
process.
It is.
But it's a journey worth taking.
It is. And in those moments of clarity,
Yeah.
you see Damon's determination.
Oh, you do.
That desire to create a better future.
And he's not alone.
He's not.
He has support,
He has support.
right?
People who believe in him.
People who believe in him, yeah.
June, Angus.
Angus offering that love
Yeah.
and sense of belonging.
They give him that belonging.
Even with Doria gone, he carries her memory.
He does.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
of both the pain of loss
Yeah.
and the power of love.
And that's what makes it impactful, right?
That is
This story of resilience,
resilience.
of finding hope,
hope.
even when surrounded by hardship.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest times,
Yeah.
the human
The
spirit
human spirit.
can endure
Yeah.
and find a way to shine through. That's it. You got it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's important to remember the humor, too.
Oh, the humor.
Yes.
Like even in those dark moments,
Yes.
there's laughter, there's absurdity.
Oh, yeah.
It speaks to that resilience.
It does.
Like that ability to find joy even amidst the pain.
And that ending.
Oh, the end.
Hopeful,
Yeah.
but it doesn't tie everything up.
It doesn't.
Does it?
There are those unanswered questions,
Yeah.
uncertainties about the future.
Like a life.
Like life.
Yeah.
There are no easy answers.
Right. No guarantees.
No guarantees.
But you get that sense he's on the right track.
you do.
Yeah.
You do. That he's found a way forward.
Even if it's not always clear.
Even if it's not clear. Yeah.
Or easy.
Or easy.
Yeah.
It's a path paved with self-awareness,
Yeah.
compassion,
Yeah.
and a deep understanding of his own story
Yeah.
and the stories of those around him.
Before we move on,
Okay.
I want to go back to that Copperhead, though. The Copperhead.
That image.
That image. Powerful.
Such a powerful symbol,
Yeah. It evolves alongside Demon himself.
doesn't it?
It does.
I love how she uses it to represent both the danger
Yeah.
and the resilience,
Mm-hmm.
the fear and the pride.
The fear and the pride.
At first, he sees it as like a mark of shame, you know,
He does.
something that sets him apart.
Yeah. Makes him an outsider.
It's a label.
It's a label.
But as he goes through life, he starts to reclaim that symbol,
He does.
doesn't he?
He does.
To see it as a representation of his strength,
Mhm.
his connection to those roots,
To Appalachia.
he embraces it,
He does.
even the hard parts.
The hard parts, too.
And he finds power in that.
And in doing so,
Yeah.
he challenges those stereotypes that have
Wonderful.
haunted him.
He shows us that belonging doesn't come from conforming,
It doesn't.
right?
It comes from embracing who you are,
Who you are.
even the parts that make others uncomfortable.
That's a powerful message,
Powerful.
especially for anyone
Yeah.
who's felt like an outsider,
Like they don't belong.
like they don't belong.
Yeah.
Demon's story reminds us that it's those differences
Yes,
that make us unique,
they do.
and they should be celebrated, not hidden.
Absolutely.
And by embracing that identity
Yeah.
as a Copperhead,
Yeah.
he's paving the way
He is.
for others to do the same.
To do the same.
Right.
Yeah.
It's possible to break free
It is.
from those limiting labels,
On the labels.
from
are
those
fine.
expectations,
Yeah.
and create a more inclusive,
Yes.
accepting world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how his journey kind of mirrors
Right.
the history of Appalachia itself.
It does.
You have this land,
Yeah.
rich in resources,
So rich in resources.
that's been exploited,
Exploited.
leaving behind the poverty,
Yeah.
the environmental devastation.
Sites full of extraction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's repeated throughout history.
it is.
And it's had such a profound impact.
Such a profound impact.
Yeah.
But like Demon, Appalachia, is resilient,
Resilient.
fighting to heal,
Fighting to heal.
fighting to rebuild,
To
reclaim that narrative.
reclaim that narrative.
And there's just this strength, in the people and the culture of Appalachia.
Yeah.
And you see that in Damon.
Oh, yeah.
And his determination. It's like he embodies that resilience
It does.
that's so deeply ingrained in that region.
Absolutely. Kingsolver doesn't shy away from the complexity of it all either, does she?
No, she doesn't.
Like, she shows the beauty and the hardship, the struggles,
Right.
and the triumphs.
And it's that honesty,
it is
that nuanced perspective
that
I think makes it
so compelling.
so compelling.
This is so compelling.
And speaking of honesty, she doesn't hold back on that social commentary either.
No, she doesn't.
I mean, we're talking poverty, addiction, the foster care system.
Oh, yeah. It's all woven into his story.
It's all woven in.
And she does it in a way that's both insightful and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And by using Damon's voice,
Right.
we get this intimate perspective on these issues
We do.
that makes it so powerful.
It's not just ideas.
It's not. It's real people.
It's real people.
real lives.
Real lives.
Yeah.
And it's showing that human cost,
It is.
right,
Yeah.
of these problems,
Of these systems.
Yeah. And it makes us think, like, how did we get here?
Right. And what can we do?
What can we do
Yeah.
to change things,
To make it more just.
to make it more just?
And I think Kingsolver challenges us
Yeah.
to look beyond those easy answers,
Oh, yeah.
to consider those systems and structures that
Yeah.
perpetuate these inequalities,
Absolutely.
even if we haven't experienced them ourselves.
And she connects those big issues
He does.
to Damon's own struggles. And you see how poverty and addiction
Yeah.
become this cycle.
They become cyclical.
It's generational.
Yeah, passing down through generations.
How do you break free?
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Even with the best intentions.
Even the best intention.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's a reminder that, individual choices
Yeah.
are often shaped by things we can't control.
Yeah.
These systems.
By these systems.
And addressing those is crucial for
Yeah.
creating change.
One thing that stood out to me was, like, his relationship with education.
With education.
Yeah.
Complicated. He sees it as both an escape
Yeah.
and a reminder of his limitations.
Of his limitations.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's caught between those two worlds, right?
Yeah.
That world of knowledge and opportunity,
Right.
and then that reality of poverty and limited prospects.
Limited prospects, yeah. And he excels in some classes.
He does. He
Yeah.
shows real potential.
He does, but then there are other times when
Yeah.
he just feels defeated.
He does. By the system.
By the system.
It highlights the inequalities,
It does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
In our education system.
Access to quality education
Yeah.
shouldn't be a privilege.
It shouldn't.
Be a right.
It should be a right. And Kingsolver doesn't limit his education to
Wait,
just
wait.
the classroom, though.
No, he learns so much
Yeah.
from his experiences outside of school.
Right. Golly's Market.
Golly's Market.
His interactions.
Yeah, with people like fast forward.
Like, fast forward Tommy is real world
His
education.
real world education.
Yeah.
It shapes his worldview,
It shapes his arts.
influences his art.
And that's what makes it relatable.
It does.
Even if you haven't faced the same challenges,
Yeah.
there's that universal desire, right?
That universal desire to connect.
To connect, to belong,
To belong.
to find meaning.
To find meaning.
Yeah.
In a world that can feel chaotic and unfair.
Chaotic and unfair.
And in his search for meaning,
He discovers that power of storytelling,
he does.
of using his voice.
His voice. And that act of sharing,
Yeah.
of connecting through our stories,
Yeah.
is so important
So
for
important.
building empathy
Empathy.
and understanding.
Understanding. So as we kind of wrap this up, this deep dive into Damon Copperhead,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways? What do you hope people
Yeah.
walk away with?
I hope they recognize the humanity
Yes.
of those living on the margins.
Yeah.
To challenge those stereotypes and see the world
See the world through their eyes.
through their eyes. And I hope this encourages everyone listening
Yeah.
to think critically
Think critically.
about those systems.
The system.
You can't just focus on individual choices.
No.
Let
We have
them-
to address the root causes.
The root causes.
Yeah.
And, Damon's story also reminds us
It does.
that resilience and hope.
Resilience and hope can exist even in the darkest of times.
Absolutely.
Our stories have power.
They do.
And by sharing them,
Yeah.
we connect
And connect.
and create a more compassionate
Compassionate
world.
world.
If you haven't read Damon Copperhead yet,
Pick it up.
pick it up. It's powerful.
It is.
It will stay with you.
It will stay with you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.